Again, I'm going to take another quick pause and see if there are any questions about this. No? Perfect. All right, let's move on to authorship. I've mentioned it a few times, and so let's actually go take a look at what authorship means. So authorship, if I can just open up actually, so I have this random nanotechnology essay that I have been writing over my days at Grammarly for this exact example. So if I'm in a Word doc, or it could be anywhere really, there's a little thumbprint at the bottom left corner of my document. And if I click on this, this is where authorship is going to live for the student to start activating it. So in this case, I have my settings that I actually turn it on and off as I want. The student has the ability to have it auto enabled. So anytime I'm coming back to this document, it'll just auto start tracking. The reason we want that is that anything that isn't tracked, we can't report on for you. So in a perfect world, this is always tracking. And when I click start tracking, it is going to watch everything that I'm doing. It has access to my clipboard. So anything I copy paste from a website, from another type of document, if I'm copying it from ChatGPT, it's going to know the source of my copy pasting. What it does beyond that is that even though I've maybe copy pasted something, if I've actually taken the time to edit that text afterwards, it's going to say this was copied, but 80% of it was edited by a human. So that's where the transparency starts to come in, right? Where they're acknowledging the use of certain sources. We can clearly see when a prompt was used or put into the document, but the student can at least prove that they've taken their own creativity to that copied text. So from here, I'm going to show you what an example of a report looks like. So when I'm done with my entire document, I can say see report, and it looks like this, and it takes me to a report of a document. So here's where you get that high level data where it says 25% of it was typed by a human, 52% of it was copied from a source, and 23% of it was unknown because I was not tracking at the time where I made these changes. So if I come down here, we can start to see if I hover over the different pieces. So the green means that this was all typed by a human. If we take a look at the gray, this is going to say, again, like we said, that's going to highlight that it's from an unknown source. Anything that's purple is copied from a source, and it's actually going to tell me where the source is from. So in this case, it's copied from some other documentation or some other Word doc that I had. Here's an example where there's a mix, right? So there's the purple, which was copied, but then there's the green that I've gone and edited myself afterwards. So you can get as nitty gritty into this as you would like, to the point where if you wanted to watch the replay of the student writing their document, you could. So you would click play here and it's going to show you the entire run through of the creation of this document. Now, in my case, this was a 2-minute session. It's very easy to watch, but a lot of your students or even yourself, it's going to be more than 2 minutes, right? It's going to be multiple minutes, 120 minutes. There's going to show you how many editing sessions that there were. So how many times did a student stop their progress, come back to the document and continue working on it? So you might not want to actually watch the replay to that point, but again, it's just to show you that you do have that option once the student shares that report with you. If I go back to my Word doc here, so this is what you would see as a faculty member if you receive the report. If it is me and I'm trying to generate a report, I'll say see report. I'll just bring this over back to my screen. The only difference that we have here is that I can click on the share report and I can choose to include the replay, which we obviously recommend the student does when possible. So this is something that if you want to touch on in your class, that you could say, make sure to include the replay. They can then copy this report and then include it in their submission if that's something that you'd like to have. Okay, I see that there's maybe a question. Yes, so to Matt's point, you don't have to have the replay option in there if you don't want to include that. Maybe the student took way too long to write it. They don't want to share that kind of information. They don't have to. So they can turn it on and off depending on how they want to share that afterwards.